but he's been sick. Hey guys, we are live. Like I said, we just start. Welcome to episode 42 of the weekly, and with me here this week is Ricky. How's it going, man?
What's up, man? How's it been?
Good, good. Ricky is with GSM Arena. Sorry, he doesn't have a lower third because, of course, as you know, Google has issues with Hangouts.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me, bro. It's been awesome to be here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. And thanks for joining us. Juan can't make it this week because he is moving. It's the final day of the move. And also Warren can't make it because he is actually at work, his daytime job. And Sam might make it, but Sam's been sick for a while, so we'll see if he can make it in. But Ricky's here with us. Now, usually, Ricky, we have a uselessness of the week. This week, we don't have one. I'm just going to tilt my camera down a little bit, unless you have something.
If it was foolishness of the week, it would have to be that guy that schemed a bunch of Pixel phones through his New Hampshire address. Did you read about that?
No, I didn't. Please enlighten. That would be our uselessness of the week.
I didn't write about it myself, but basically, this guy had people order Pixels to his address in New Hampshire. And as we know, in New Hampshire, there's no sales tax. So when you order something from the Play Store, it will have no tax. And he would resell them at, a markup because of the sales tax, or not because of he would just resell them. But apparently this guy tried to ship like the number of hundreds or thousands of devices to his address, and all these accounts that were associated with what this guy was doing were all shut down.
Oh wow. So
the people couldn't they were suspended, so the people couldn't log into their Gmails. Like all these apps and services they depend on were all shut down for them, and it happened for hours, and then like a few hours later, Google just lifted all their suspensions. But and then they commented saying like, oh, we want we use the Google Store so everyone has a fair opportunity to purchase a phone, and that's against Google's terms and conditions of purchasing the phone. So.
Turns out again, technically, it's a loophole. There's nothing there that's. Actually,
it depends on how you do it. Because I think this guy did it wrong. Because I think there's a better way to do it. you charge for a gift wrap service, and then just you put like a bow on it, and you put it in a box, and then you just reship it out of your New Hampshire address, I guess.
Wow. So Ricky here is giving us more efficient ways in handling purchasing your Google Pixel through a state that doesn't charge sales tax. Thanks, Ricky. That's it's just not uselessness anymore. This is a usefulness of the week.
That's why I said if it was foolishness of the week, that's what it would be. But
yeah, definitely. Guys, if there's anything in the chat that you think is a uselessness of the week, let us know. So I think we'll just jump into the topics of this week. Right?
Is there so to get to the Q&A, I click on this on the sidebar, right? Because my Q&A is completely empty.
I will email it to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. So no, we're not using it. So I actually set this up through YouTube and not at Hangout. So if you use it through YouTube, you're gonna get the Q&A on the YouTube link itself. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a chat there rather than doing. So I'm gonna email it to you now. Let me see if I send it to the right email address.
I have both of them open now. Just
I'm sending it to the wrong one. So sorry.
Come on, man, help me out.
All right, so let's jump into our first topic of the week. Qualcomm announced the Snapdragon 835 this week. It was the big announcement. They had something here in New York City. Qualcomm showcased the 835, the Quick Charge 4.0, and some other stuff. So what do you think about the 830? Whoa, Sam, how's it going, man?
What's going on?
Good, man. How you feeling? You feeling better?
We'll see if I'm not coughing and sneezing. If I start doing that too much, I might drop off.
Okay. And Sam, this is Ricky, Sam. I know you guys are meeting for the first time.
Hey, Ricky, how you doing? We've met a couple of times at different shows.
Good, man.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. It's been a long night. I'm just gonna drink water.
What have you been doing all night? That's what we want to know. What has Thunder E been doing all night?
Thunder E has been working all night.
Exercising.
Yeah.
Exercising, huh? Yeah, I figured as much. You put in the work.
Yeah. Quickly, Sam, is there any uselessness of the week that you have? Anything in mind?
Yes, sinus infections. You're freaking useless. They're the most useless things on the face of the planet, okay? And they make you feel like crap. So it's like a 2-for-1. It's like useless, crappy, stupid stuff. Okay, that's my uselessness.
Okay, all right. So we'll jump to our main topic of the week, Snapdragon 835. The big announcement was the fact that they are producing the chipset on a 10 nanometer wafer, and their production partner is, guess who? Samsung. Yes. So that was one of the big things. And also, they didn't get into a lot of spec details. That's going to be held off till most likely CES. But it does come with Quick Charge 4.0. And they actually highlighted a couple of things. So I was at the Qualcomm event. They highlighted their new Adaptec software. Codec for Bluetooth audio, to give you better Bluetooth audio, and also the new codec for inline audio. Actually, let me look for this specifically. So at this point, when I get back to that, I want to ask Ricky, what do you think about Snapdragon 835, all the stuff you heard from Qualcomm this week?
Well, I was just skimming over the article earlier, and it's just crazy how these processors can get thinner and more efficient and faster and smaller, and how much space how much more could you possibly fit with a little bit less space that a processor takes up?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it's the 835. Whatever. It's a new processor. I don't know what else to tell you about it. It's a smaller, more efficient. And you know what? Actually, I do have something to say. I hope that Samsung brings some of their expertise with Exynos into the app, the 835. As we know, the Exynos equivalent versions of the S7 and S7 Edge perform differently than the Snapdragon variants. So that would just make a cohesive, hopefully, for the S8 or the next generation Samsung phones. At least that's what I'm thinking about.
Well, some of the things that I wanted to mention before I go to you, Sam, is the acoustic codec. So they really highlighted two of them. They have the Qualcomm acoustic audio, which is the codec number is WCD9335, supports hi-fi audio up to 192 kilohertz, 24-bit audio, lossless audio formats, some really nice specs in terms of audio. And they highlighted that where they were showing a demo for us with the HTC 10 and an Oppo amplifier DAC, and trying to get us to guess the difference there. And granted, it was their own closed situation or scenario. I mean, I was able to guess it. Yeah, I'm that good. Thank you very much. But it was not as much as I thought it would be. So I was really impressed with how good the HTC 10 with that codec compared to $1,000 DAC from Oppo, which is with another $1,000 Sennheiser headphones. So it was a very good listening experience. But the other thing I liked was they also focused a lot on security at this briefing, especially on their chipsets, like down to the core, and also how they want to focus on security for their OEM. So anything that affects their chipsets, they will actually push that out immediately. But of course, it's still left to the OEMs to eventually put it up there. So they're trying to almost cover situations to say, hey, if anything happens and it has to involve with our chipsets, we will deal with that. And hopefully the OEMs will, down the line. But what did you think about some of the announcements you heard from 835, Sam?
Interesting stuff. I'm just brushing up on it right now, and it looks as though they definitely have provided something that would eventually allow us to get thinner and thinner phones, because 10 nanometers is actually pretty damn small. if you actually look at that on the scale between the 14, I think what we have now is 14 for the 820s, right?
Yeah.
And the 835 are going to be 10. Now, the big thing for me here is the quick charge. Quick charge is going to be basically 0.5 times faster than it is in current generation. And that's pretty interesting. You know, I think quick charge is pretty fast right now. What is it? It's like 0 to 80% in what, 5-10 minutes or 15 minutes?
Yeah, 0 to 50% in 15 minutes of 50%. Charge. 50%. Yeah. The one that Huawei Zone is currently the fastest on the Mate 9.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I don't even know the speeds, but anytime I plug that thing in, it's fast.
It was a 2. Ours was 2 to 50%, 2% to 50% in 25 minutes. Is what the Mate 9 was, but that's a 4,000 milliamp hour battery.
Yeah, that's a bigger battery. Yeah. But this looks promising, man. This looks promising for everyone who basically complains about battery charging, complains about having or wanting to see phones get thinner and thinner, because this might actually improve the designs of phones. Because at the end of the day, if you have more space to work with, you probably could fit more things into that device. So it'd be interesting to see exactly what kind of SoC these chips turn out to be, what they're going to actually have on there. For me, I don't think the security is a big deal. Hardware security is a thing of the past. Everyone does it now. It should be standard. It's always going to rely on the OEMs to basically make sure that they're secure. So I wouldn't expect Qualcomm to be the vector where people actually hack your device. I would expect it to either be Android or some other OEM.
Well, the reason why is that especially at their events, I realized how many devices that they have Qualcomm chipsets in.
Oh yeah, they're almost everything.
In almost. So for them, it was more on the IoT side, because a lot of hacks now are using IoT devices and things like that. So, they were talking about having solutions across the board, especially on IoT, because then that IoT piggybacks to your Android device if you have it within the home. So for them, it was more on that side to say, hey, look, if you have, a drone, if you have a camera, heck, they have, in some areas, they have Qualcomm chipsets in parking meters.
Oh,
yeah. They talk about a chipset in a parking meter that runs on a AA battery for 2 years and supplies and has LTE, so you can send information back and forth. I was like,
a AA battery for 2 years. No, that's impressive.
I was like, wow. I'm like, can we have that in our phones?
Yeah, it'll be thicker given, but a AA battery for 2 years, I'll take that.
Yeah,
you have no features, no internet, nothing whatsoever.
No, you have LTE though. You would get information back and forth. It doesn't mean that you'd be able to send information.
You probably wouldn't be able to play 4K videos or 1080p videos or even standard definition videos, but 2 years, man. 2 years.
Yeah, you get lines of text. Lines of text.
Lines of text.
Yes.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. Sorry, Ricky, you're going to say something?
I was just going to say lines of text for the time remaining in your meter. 4 digits.
Yeah, so it would definitely be, but I'm glad to see the improvements there. I think Qualcomm had the 810 was a rough processor for them. That was the one where they had heat issues, and then the 820 really brought them back on that stage of the map, and it looks like the 835. And like you said, Ricky, hopefully they work with Samsung a little bit more integrated, not just the manufacturing, and then we get some of those benefits from Exynos into the the 835, because even for Samsung it makes sense, because we know the 835 will be the Galaxy S8 anyway, so you might as well add some of those benefits in there down the line.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And moving to other news, OnePlus 3T launched this week.
Sure did.
This one is really interesting because there's been so many rumors of the OnePlus 4, and the rumors were already with the rumors of the OnePlus 4, we had the rumors of the 835 processor in there. So everybody was like, the OnePlus 4 will be the first device with the 835. And then they released the OnePlus 3T. Granted, it now has the Snapdragon 821 processor. It has a 60 megapixel selfie camera, if I'm not mistaken, in there.
16, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, your selfies are going to look crisp, and it's got a slightly bigger battery, and it's only $40 more. But any logic to why they launched this device?
I mean, maybe they wanted to refresh. It's a refresh device.
Yeah, but
so I thought that the phone needed to be refreshed. I don't know. I mean, why was this device released? To be honest, I don't know. Did they end up switching the screen panel technology, or is it still LCD?
It's still LCD.
Yeah, so then I don't. Because before, I don't know why. Because before, there were misconceptions about the supply chain and how they weren't getting these screens fast enough, and how they were going to switch to AMOLED, and it was going to be launched as a. But they didn't even. They ended up doing this. Is it still a? No, is the 3T quad HD screen?
No, it's 1080p. But you know what? You know where we can check? We can check your website, GS7.
We can. see, even I need to use it.
I think it'll be easier for us to use GS7 to find out. And let's see. OnePlus.
Yeah, I'm over here rambling about.
Yeah, I mean.
Trying to say the name of the phone. So November 22nd.
Yeah, and display is 1080p display, AMOLED.
1080p.
Yeah.
Oh, AMOLED. It is AMOLED after all.
Oh yeah,
so you change the screen.
Okay. Snap Android 7, 6 gigs of RAM.
You know what? I don't know that these were updated.
Yeah, I don't think the RAM was updated. I think it's really just.
Oh yeah, the RAM was 6. Yeah, the RAM was 6. Just Android 7.
No, sorry. I meant our page. I don't think was updated because it still says it's Android Nougat. And it's not coming with Android Nougat. I don't believe.
No, it is. Really just the chipsets.
Is it?
No, it's not. It is launch. Android Nougat update comes December. I forgot the date, but the same day as the OnePlus 3 is getting Nougat is the same day the OnePlus 3T will get Nougat also.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I guess as upgrade, it upgrades.
But yeah, I mean, if you guys are excited about the OnePlus 3T, let us know. I mean, I don't think anyone's saying anything about it, but.
I'm just kind of curious that it's 5 months, not even half a year. But
5 months, and they did this refresh.
Yeah. It could be that the OnePlus 3 just wasn't selling like they thought it would, or just maybe was a little farther behind than everyone else's device. So, because for $40 more, the price difference is not that much. So it looks to me that this is just you're phasing out the OnePlus 3 and then replacing it with the OnePlus 3 T, and that's about it.
You think it could have been that they have fierce competition now with all the $400 range of phones that were coming out this year, and they had to one-up everybody by refreshing the OnePlus 3T, maybe?
I mean, probably, but also again, too, I mean, here's the other conspiracy theory, is that Qualcomm released the A21 rather late, and they would like to see some chipsets out there, devices with it. Granted, there's the only other device is the Echo Lepro with A21. So you need to have something else at least to use that chipset before the 835 comes out. And most likely the first 835 device will be Galaxy S8. If Samsung is making those chipsets,
it has to be.
It should be them. And we're looking at a March timeline for that. Yeah. So between now and March.
Yeah.
You got to at least push out the 821 as much as possible so that people say, okay, this is a viable chipset. And then other manufacturers can go, oh, yeah, we can pick this up while we wait. Or if we don't want to, if we can't get the 835 next year, then the 821, it worked well with the OnePlus 3T, then we can definitely use that also. So I think that's where that falls. Moving on to some other devices. This news also was from GSM Arena. Huawei P10. And P10 Plus reportedly spotted with Leica cameras. Also, in terms of specs, you're looking at a 5.5 QHD touch display. Now, this is the thing. I thought the Mate series was the flagship, but the P series is the flagship?
No, the Mate series is the flagship.
Okay, then why didn't we get a QHD display on the Mate?
I think they're both. Aren't they both flagships?
I thought the Mate, the Mate series is the flagship series from the Huawei side of things, where the Honor, I think, is a flagship from.
Yeah,
the
Honor line.
The Honor line is just different.
Yeah, it's their budget line. But I thought Mate was a flagship.
Yeah, the Mate is supposed to be the flagship. Now, the thing that's going to be interesting here is to see what kind of carrying processor is in there.
It's a
So-
960 because it's
Wow.
still new for
Yeah.
the rumored for the P10.
It might not have the full functionality of the new Kirin processor in there. That might be the only thing.
Nah. It looks like it's the full chipset, 6 gigs of RAM,
Yeah, it says
256
966.
gigabytes of storage. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, straight up.
It's pretty much Mayday territory here. So this is the thing, right? When we're in China, Huawei was trying to delineate between what is its flagship, what is mid-range, and what is basically entry-level kind of phones. Now, the Mate line has been touted as being, Huawei's flagship device, and Huawei has been consistently paring it down. But now when you make a move like this, when you have a P series and a Mate series, where the P series looks as though it's now it looks better than the Mate series, it's a little weird. It's like it kind of muddles that messaging a little bit. So,
any thoughts, Ricky?
I mean, the P. I mean, now that the P9, what was the P9 last year? It was the same size as the Honor 8. It was 5.2 inch. This is what 5.5. I mean, if they're starting to creep up toward the Mate 9. Mate 9 is now 5.9. When it first came out, the Ascend Mate, it was 6.1.
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
Then it went down 6.6, and now it's 5.9. So they're creeping toward each other. Maybe they're gonna have a P Mate someday. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, they need to figure out what they want to do with delineating their different devices, because especially with the QHD display, it also has, I mean, I get it. I think the Leica camera is going to be on all their devices, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because the Honor has a Leica camera. They just didn't label it as a Leica camera.
Yeah, I think the Mate 9 has one as well.
Yeah, Mate 9 has one.
Yeah.
The P9 was the first device to have a Leica camera. So, which is why I thought the P series was the higher series, because if you slapping Leica on there, then you're putting that on your high-end device. But
I mean, like I said, I think they're both flagships. I mean, they were debuting the Leica camera on the P9, and now they refreshed the Leica camera for the Mate 8, Mate 9. So now it's like the version 2 camera.
Yeah.
I mean, could it be both? Could have like a flagship phone and then they have a flagship phablet?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what they want to do, but I guess it's just a matter of spacing them throughout the year you actually place these devices, and then that would make sense. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Now, this is something that I wanted to bring up that is sort of a uselessness and also sort of a ding at the same time. So this week, Engadget reported that Blue phones stealing your information through AdOps and sending it secretly. So I reached out to Blue because I know the guys at Blue, and then you find out, even reading from the Engadget article, that it is basically clickbait. Again, in the sense that, yeah, it is true. Blue was not aware. CryptoWire, the security firm, let Blue know. Blue hired Crypto to actually go through their devices to say, hey, can you please check everything to make sure? And Crypto said, right, it's now cleared up because AdOps basically took everything off. But it's the fact that the way Engadget reported the story, they didn't actually, let people know, okay, this is what happened. This is where you can find out information. It was more of like, yeah, hey, they're stealing your information and that's it. Basically throwing the company on the bus, whether it is necessarily true or not. Now, I look at it, look, if you're going to report news and you call yourself one of the biggest tech websites, then yeah, report it, but find out what exactly is going on. Don't make it look like this is just what this company is doing, rather than say, okay, this is the mistake the company made. Yes, this is what happened. This is what they actually did to solve it. Because according to CryptoWire, it literally was, once they told Blue, they got it fixed in a couple of days. I think the news broke on Monday, and by Thursday, Crypto said it's all clear. So, I mean, and there's no update to that. So that's just my own little uselessness from Engadget, but then I'm not surprised about that in general. Sorry, I can't hear you, Ricky.
Sorry, my bad. I was muted. I was trying to find the article online, but I couldn't find it. Was it taken down?
I think it was. I couldn't.
I'll send it over.
but I can send you the information from CryptoWire here. I'll add it.
Oh, okay.
It's in the chat on the side.
I'll put the chat, the Engadget stuff on the chat. There you go. Yeah, no, it looks interesting. I think it definitely, Engadget is right that it wasn't Blue Phones that actually, it says Blue Phones informed them that this was happening. So Blue Phones put it out.
Oh, yeah, they must have updated it because the first time I read the article, they didn't say that.
Right. And it looks as though, like you said, they fixed the issue. What the problem is, it's not even with Blue Phone; it's with a third-party software.
Yeah,
I think what's the name of this stuff? I'm trying to find the name. Adops. Yeah. And that's kind of weird, though. See, this is why I say security is not going to be on the hardware side.
Yeah,
security is always going to rely on your OEMs understanding what kind of software they have and exactly what's going on, what's requesting information, what's sending information, and what's receiving information. Right. So this Adops, you would think this was something that they would know with on their phones and exactly what it was doing. So why would a third-party application want your text messages, want your contact information? That's kind of odd. And I'm happy that they've solved the issue, but I want to know what Adops was doing with that information.
I mean, from what I got, in the same way, like from what I gathered from Blue, they were not even aware themselves, which is why for them it was like, you just Adops, you just throw us under the bus, like literally throw our devices under the bus here. We're, so we look like the evil company. But I'll leave the links for you guys in the description. I'm going to add it there so you guys can check it out. But you're definitely right, Sam. I mean, why does Adops want all that kind of information from me? And that's the thing, though. And that's the problem. To me, I don't even blame Adops for this. This is a Google problem that started with Android 2.0. Where every single device, because I remember then Motorola used to complain about battery life, and Motorola said the problem with battery life is that every Android device, every Android software wants to work with every single aspect of your phone. So it asks for, when you look at the permission, then it would just automatically, once you install the device, it would just automatically link to everything on your phone.
Yeah.
Right, because you had to set the permissions before you installed it.
Yeah. And even now where Android, with Android Nougat, it goes, to use camera, this and this, but most software still bypass all that stuff on your device. So they have access to a lot of things in there. It's to me still an Android, even forget Adops, it's an Android issue that Google doesn't almost clarify to say, if you are a text messaging app, you stay text messaging. If you are this app, why do you need to know what my contacts are when you have nothing to do with my contacts? I mean, I think
guess the guidelines for those must be too loosely regulated, and like a keyboard app, for example, that wants to see your contacts, and then so that it can find your contacts when you try to type something in, and that's, it's a simple reason to need one, but it's also pretty dangerous to
have one in there.
Apps access those things, but it really depends on, I guess, what you're trying to get with the app. So, but yeah. You're completely right. Google should be,
because I don't think iOS has this kind of issue. I mean, granted, Apple is really uptight with their system, so I'm not really
close system,
so I don't think they have this issue, and that's something that
you never know, right? The thing is, it wasn't as though Blue kept this and has such a close ecosystem that no one knew about it or they didn't want to talk about it. Apple tends to be the kind of place where if there is something wrong, they will probably fix it and not release anything saying there was anything wrong in the first place.
Yeah.
So we just don't know for Apple if this kind of stuff has happened. I would assume that there are probably software packages out there that contain more information from all these manufacturers.
Gotcha.
And that's why you had Nougat making those security changes to for permission changes. That's why you have Blue basically making the change to these Adops to add. And I'm pretty sure Apple might have gone through the same thing, maybe on a smaller scale. We just don't know. No, I don't think I don't think I've heard anything about it, but I'm not saying it hasn't happened.
No, that's very true. But it's just one of those things where I think it's about time Google makes it a little bit more stringent, because we have too many. I mean, any games. The worst of games. You download a game and you look at the permission of the game. It has everything linked. I mean, it's like it's like tentacles. Just goes on your system and says, "I own your phone right now." So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. But to Sam's point, you're right. Where software is just the death of all security.
Yeah, no, exactly. The thing is, software is such a malleable thing that if you're not careful about who's putting software on your device, you're going to run into issues like this. And this is why I like the whole Android architecture, where you have one company that's supposedly doing this for every other company out there. Yes, you can add stuff on top of it, but basically you have one vector that says, all right, let me flush out the software. Let me make sure all the permissions are done correctly and then send that out. If people rely more on that, then I think we might end up with a better ecosystem for Android. But now you have Android also lets you put, other third-party apps on top of it, or the skins and whatever, and then that's where you run into problems. If you're not the ones writing that software, if you don't know exactly what that software does for your product, then you have an add-up issue here.
Yeah, true. But I'll give you something else. This is why I'm going to stop blaming Google. When we went to the HTC event, HTC, one of the guys from HTC who was talking audio said he was talking to I believe I think it was THQ or somebody who was big in audio, and they wanted to basically work with Android so you can get USB audio, because USB audio is terrible on Android. Mm-hmm. Even though we have USB-C headphone jacks, it's not cohesive across the brand because everybody does their own thing. So THQ was like, yeah, let's kind of work with them and then we'll do like a set standard. And they didn't want to work with them. Like literally said Google did not want to work with them. Like, yeah, they can work with HTC, but no, they didn't want to. And I'm like, this is the problem. This is why you have shit like this left and right. You don't want to come up with if you are making Android nougat and you say, okay, you know what, now we support USB audio and here's the standard. You're the one who makes the OS anyway. So you might as well drop some standards out there and say, yeah, this is what we want to do. Now, I'm sure somebody told me I'm probably wrong. So if you work at Google, please leave a message right there. and we'll see if you're wrong. But anyway, let's move on to the next topic. It looks like Nokia is going to be dropping some smartphones in 2017. The company has a roadmap, which our good friends at GSM Arena. Did Ricky drop this one? I don't know.
Nah, I didn't. I was.
Just say it's you, man. Just say it's you. Just be done. But it's the roadmap here is looking at devices and things between 2016 to 2018. And 2017 looks like we're getting Nokia branded phones return to the market, more expanded VR leadership, VR licenses in 2018, but more devices. Any idea? Do you guys think Nokia will? Because the rumor I heard was Nokia is going to have something mid to low end. But do you think they're going to come out with a gamut of devices, or do you think they'll start at maybe that magic $400 price point?
That's a good question.
It would make more sense for them to start at the 400s to feel out the markets and then go from there. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I do agree. I wish they came out with two devices, just one killer, just one nasty killer device at like $600-700 and say it's limited supply, because I think that's what companies need to do. You need to take that limited supply back in. You can't compete with Samsung on the rest. But if you make a limited supply of some device, it's not too expensive, but it's priced the same, and say, hey, we're literally only going to make 200,000 of these devices. And here's the mid-tier that is our main device that we're selling this year. If you want to get that, go ahead and do it. And I think they will see a lot of traction. Or you see a lot of people who will buy the $400 device and say, oh, I wish my $400 device had, all that extra there. But any thoughts, Sam?
I don't know. I think what it is really Nokia is not producing any of these devices, right?
Yeah.
It's using two companies, I think HMD and Foxconn, to do all the production on this, right? But I'm not sure if this is going to be real Nokia phones like we expected. Probably just, I don't know, maybe even really low-end phones. I don't think it's even right now. I don't think it's going to be mid-range phones. I think it's going to be entry-level phones, and that might actually work for Nokia, because even if Nokia goes into the $400 space, it's pretty crowded right now. But Nokia has the name to basically make an impact.
Yeah.
But if it goes low end, and it has all these patents, and it can get people to do at least quality, I shouldn't say low end, but entry level with quality parts, then it just might make a bigger impact that way.
The only thing I'm not sure about the patents is, do they have access to it? They don't own the patents anymore. Microsoft owns those patents.
I'm not too sure if Microsoft owns all their
It
patents.
says right here. I just saw something about the patents. Hang on.
Which ones do they know? Okay.
It says a new entity, HMD, which will pair Nokia's brand, patents, and oversight with Foxconn's research and development and manufacturing prowess.
Oh, unless the deal when they left was they share patents, or at least they have access to the patents or something. Because I know that was one thing Microsoft kept to add to their patent portfolio. They were not going to let that go. They may sell off the company, but they're like, no, we keep some of this. So maybe they have access to it, so which actually still makes sense for them. But you're right, Sam. It might be a good play, but I don't know. I think if 400 could be a better fit if they come out with something that kind of leverages that Nokia name again, and says this is a Nokia device, and you're getting some good quality out of this. But we'll just have to see. All right, let's move on to some interesting news. I'll let Sam, our financial expert, handle the volley here. But Snapchat is about to file its IPO for $25 million. Sorry, I put Wall Street Journal and I completely forgot. But you need to subscribe to Wall Street Journal to actually read anything. So I updated it with an article from The Verge. So you guys can check that out.
I didn't get the update though.
Yeah, it's just updated. Sorry. So Snapchat is valued at $25 billion. It could be up to $35 billion, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. This company is not worth more than $4 billion.
We're about to see the next. Twitter on there.
Yeah,
as simple as that. It's this company doesn't. Okay, maybe it's just me being a 34-year-old.
No age.
I just don't understand. I really don't understand how Snapchat can have an IPO. How a company like this can have an IPO. Well, the thing here is basically they're saying this might be one of the biggest IPOs in recent years. It's coming in at about 20 to 25 billion, but we've had bigger IPOs even last year with I guess Japan Post Bank, which people wouldn't even know about that. Facebook in 2012 was 81, and Alibaba in 2014 was about 169. Yeah. So
they're trying to hype this out. Whoever their backers are looking to hype this as much as possible because they need to get money out of this. Because
that's exactly what I think it is. I think this is basically Snapchat saying we'll take our money and we'll probably end up selling the company and we'll be out, because I don't see what the long-term goal for a Snapchat is. A Twitter, I can say, okay, this is direct marketing. Facebook, we all know Facebook. It's really all about all the information they've been able to gather off of you. But Snapchat, when you're logging in using your Facebook profiles and things, I don't think they have access or they have ownership to all the information that they have. I think that's going to be
they have access. They have ownership to your secrets.
Yeah, but do they have ownership to the data? Because if you're logging in using your Facebook login, your Facebook profile, doesn't Facebook own all of that at the end of the day?
Facebook shares some of that. They don't own it. You share some of that with Facebook. But that's the problem. And we're looking here. I'm just looking at the article here. The shift informed how Snapchat and Facebook have grown as products. Instagram does stories. Facebook is testing new camera features. Yeah. The problem with Snapchat, and we've said this so many times, remember Juan keeps hammering on this, is that when you have a piece of software that is easily can be replicated by somebody else, you don't own anything at all. They have, and it doesn't look like they have any patents to it. That's the thing. It's not like it was, okay, we created this thing, there's a patent, and if somebody wants to use it, it's fine, but you have to pay us money. So to me, that's one of the issues, is that Facebook is literally trying to crush them. Zuckerberg has made his dream that since I couldn't buy you for $4 billion, I am going to make Instagram crush you in every way. And now we're going to know how many, because they're going to finally in a public IPO, we'll know how many subscribers Snapchat really has.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because they never said how many subscribers they had. I think Instagram is almost at 700 million, if I'm not mistaken. Some ridiculous number. Instagram will meet Facebook and WhatsApp at 1 billion users very soon. So anyway, any thoughts, Ricky? Or are you a Snapchatter?
I mean, I use it every once in a while, but it's honestly a waste of time. And like, there's no comment system. You can't interact with other people's stories except like chat back with them. It's not a like you said, it's not a sustainable app. And you know, because these other apps, like for example, with the whole Vine shutting down, that's a perfect example.
Yeah,
it's this portion of Twitter that Twitter was like, I don't want it. I'm gonna throw it away. I'm gonna put it here for now. And that's basically what the platform of Snapchat is. But Snapchat's been able to keep it fresh with these filters and these AR elements that they've been putting in. And now with the Snapchat spectacles, they're hyping. They're reaching the peak, and they know it. So they're trying to get higher than their peak for some reason.
Well, looking at the numbers here, we're seeing numbers where they're saying they're reaching 150 million people daily. And they claim to be, of that 150 million, 41% is between the ages of 18 to 34. That's prime spending real estate right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
and by the way, the
the
curated content on Snapchat is horrendous.
yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, they say they're reaching that much. How much is Instagram reaching?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's see what Instagram is reaching. But they're projecting 250 to 350 million in 2016. But then all of a sudden, 2017 is 1 billion. I'm like, where's the
the jump from? Yeah,
where's this jump of 650 million coming from 1 year to the next? Like, I don't understand this. Realistically, there's something that does not make sense about this Snapchat IPO to me. There are a lot of companies out there that do the same thing and do it better, except for the disappearing part of things. And I don't understand how a disappearing message would actually lead to sustained marketing growth.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. You're saying it's disappearing, but you're still using that information to actually source to advertisers. So thus, it's not disappearing. And because you have, sorry to say, young, stupid people who think it's disappearing, that is why you now have such a market base there. But I mean, I don't see any source of revenue. I don't see how they can sustain revenue stream.
They're looking from the Wall Street Journal article. It looks as though they're looking at Madison Avenue, looking at the fashion side of things. They're thinking they could basically get a lot of marketing from that end. But Instagram could do the same thing.
Instagram does it already.
So it's to me, it's really
heck. I saw a pair of shoes the other day. I was like, wow, who posted this? I really thought it was somebody else that posted it. And I was like, you bastards, I almost bought a pair of shoes.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of companies are already doing this. Facebook does this, Instagram does this, Twitter does this. So why do they think they have something unique that they can bring into the public offering and just basically say, they're worth that 20 to 30 $1 million, or 30 to 30 billion dollars at the end of the day.
Billion. Ooh.
Yeah, that's big money.
It's cash out time. That's what it is.
It's more than 4 billion, I can tell you that.
It is definitely cash out time. I mean, to whoever owns the owner of Snapchat, he this is a good play for not selling to Facebook, but his company is going to dwindle really fast. I mean, he's going to cash out. If I'm him, as I go public, I'm going to start dumping stock and getting cash and spinning that as I'm trying to relinquish my hold on the company and bring in better vision and some crap like that. And then I disappear to an island somewhere. I think that's it. But we'll have to wait and see. But I don't see this doing well. And to Sam's point, I think this is another Twitter. And Twitter is facing the consequences of not selling when they had suitors. And I mean, Sam was right. It looks like Twitter is going to be sold for less than $1 billion at this point because the financials are not looking good and nobody wants to spend anything. If they get $1 billion, they should be happy. I'll put it that way. Because Twitter can't stop trolls. They can't curate their system properly anymore. I mean, Periscope is there, and Periscope is still alive, and people use Periscope.
The problem with Twitter is Twitter hasn't settled on what it is. If you look at the 2016 election cycle, Twitter was a huge name because that's where we got the mind of the president-elect from, and Twitter could capitalize on that.
Yeah, but who stole the election at the end? Facebook and it's fake news.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. So
Yeah.
then it did. I mean,
Then the Facebook and its fake news came out, and but Twitter has that something that no one else has, which is that direct communication from whatever brand to people who actually advocate for that brand, who follow that brand, and that's where their strength is. But they don't seem to know how to monetize that. They don't seem to understand that instead of giving these people or giving these people who post on Twitter X amount of times or millions and millions of posts, instead of giving them free reign through Twitter, Twitter should maybe charge them. Maybe say for X amount of tweets, we get something from you, or it's a back and forth. Twitter should find a way of monetizing their, I would say, their high followers or their members with high followership.
Well, I mean, I think they should. No, I think first off, start off monetizing with companies. I mean, that's the easiest part. You should. It's like, look, when you get to a certain point, then you start going to our Pro Tools. Yeah. If you don't want to use the Pro Tools, you can stay here, but we have to limit your subscribers. I mean, because you're going to be taking advantage of something in our system that allows you to reach more people. Yep. And then, to me, Periscope should not be separate. Periscope should now be part of Twitter. I should be able to immediately live stream from Twitter and reach out, because Periscope still, people use it. It still works well. They haven't lose. I mean, like, Periscope should be monetized. It literally should be monetized from the get-go. Yeah. It's something where, look, if I'm live streaming to my subscribers and they're watching me, this is something where you can inject ads. If this is a tech channel, we're talking about tech, and on a live stream, heck, you can inject ads. Heck, you can even actually do certain things where you do plan live stream, and maybe if you want to, if you actually put it up and say, hey, I am live streaming about the new Samsung TV, and then there'll be a couple of options. Hey, here are a couple of companies that want to actually interject ads into your live stream. Do you want to talk about them too? And you can get X amount of money. I'm like, why am I thinking of these things? Why don't I own these companies?
And that's the problem. Twitter needs to have people in that company that kind of think outside the box. Because I'm really kind of a little disappointed in them, especially with this 2016 election cycle. You have so many millions being thrown around during the elections that Twitter could actually have been a viable ad platform for these, for either faction or either party, and come out on top. They could have been really big winners here, because all the news outlets, everyone was carrying Twitter content that was, content that was released on Twitter, be it tweets from the president-elect, be it rebuttals from the Democrat Party. It was all of that. A lot of it was happening on Twitter, and they should have been able to capitalize on that, and they don't seem to know how to. And then when it came time for them to sell and maybe make some money off of it, I think they stumbled. Yeah, they stumbled yet again. So it seems to be a marked lack of leadership that's causing this company to just flounder all over the place.
The one thing Twitter doesn't do, which Facebook does, right? On your Facebook feed, once in a while, you see ads come from companies you've never even had anything to do with, but because you're part of their target audience, right? Those will feed through. How come I don't see targeted feeds, tweets? From a brand, I'm not, especially a brand I don't follow. I mean, I get it, the brands I follow. And also, again, the brands I follow, how Twitter is. If you don't, same thing. If you don't follow people, or if you don't, either like or share their stuff, they kind of read down on your feed scale. Brands should be able to pay for that option to always show up, especially people who follow them. Fine. If I know that I have 100,000 people following my brand, and not all of them are engaging with me, then I should pay for re-engagement. So basically, it's throwing back in the feed slowly at different points in time. Anyway, any thoughts, Ricky? Any thoughts?
Any thoughts on saving Twitter? Any thoughts to save Twitter?
Ricky, you still there?
Oh, he froze. I think he froze.
I think
he must be using Netscape like I am.
Ricky's back.
I'm back. I died, but I'm back.
I was gonna say, any thoughts before we leave? I know we're talking about Snapchat, but now we're talking about Twitter. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, actually, just that was lingering in my head. I remember one of Twitter's, just what Sam was talking about, lack of leadership. yes, Twitter unknowingly allowed a white supremacist ad go through its network of advertisers, and they were heavily flamed for that. It's just becoming this bubble that can't be contained, and it's just like melting apart, and they're just trying to push it back together so that it stays up.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I think the first thing they need to do is they need to go in and they need to reset a structure for how to moderate Twitter.
Yeah.
They need to literally come up with new rules and guidelines. Rules and guidelines that say you cannot do certain things across the board. Yeah, you can use satire and things, but you cannot. There should be no racial bias. There should be no prejudice. All those kind of things that we all expect to see in any kind of forum, should be there. Send that to everybody. When you re-sign up with Twitter, sign in Twitter, those are the rules and regulations. And then if you make a mistake, you get a warning. Get a second warning. Service. Yeah. First, second, third warning, then you get a ban. Done.
The thing is, these forums have moderators to do that, but there's no one moderating Twitter.
No, but you have keywords for crying out loud.
No, it's different because people come up with hashtags and that normally aren't offensive, but now have an offensive connotation to it. There are a lot of things that came out during this election cycle that I had never heard of, and I'm like, whoa. Okay, that's supposed to be something that's actually not very derogatory. I'm like, I did not know.
No, I mean, I understand.
You learn this thing,
but think about it. Yeah, it will take time for certain things like that. But if that hashtag comes out and people report it, then that escalates up to a physical individual and looks, and then everyone who shares that hashtag, because you read the terms and services, you get a mark. Ding, 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 and all those tweets get deleted automatically. You have to take a hard line. You have to literally.
I was thinking maybe Twitter should take I should say this first. It's really interesting that we're talking about Twitter and not Snapchat, because Snapchat does not have this kind of conversation happening around it. And that's why, again, I still don't understand why these guys went IPO. But
I know.
Well, if Twitter took more of a Reddit stance where almost anything will be allowed on Reddit, but it's basically segmented into certain subreddits, subtweets, or whatever. And then those subtweets, then Twitter can basically, instead of saying, okay, we're going to censor this subtweet, we're basically going to slap a warning on there, right? Like, this subtweet has been known for A, B, C, D, E. Follow at your own peril. Something like that. They don't need to curate everything. So
so basically, it becomes, when the tweet pops up, it's almost like a haze filter with a warning sign in front of it. And if you click,
like Twitter does have with
exactly,
like they have with explicit content. If you're not signed into Twitter and you haven't said, okay, it's okay for me to see explicit content, then there's an issue where anytime an explicit, or what Twitter defines as explicit content comes up, you have to click in order to view it, right? Yeah. They should do stuff like that with objectionable material. That if anything like that comes up, that Twitter flags, instead of just basically cutting it out, put a notification window on top of that says, okay, I actually want to see this, so I'll click on it. Or I actually want to actively see this, I'll go to my settings, and I'll make sure that I can see these things through settings. There are ways for Twitter to do this that wouldn't impinge on anyone's Second Amendment rights, or First Amendment rights, I should say.
First Amendment rights shouldn't even apply to companies. It should not.
If you look online right now, that's the argument, right? There's an argument online is racist comments are actually anti-First Amendment. So it's one of those things. I don't want to get into that conversation, but
I get it. But yeah. if I owned an island, right, in America, if it was owned by me and it's my sovereign state, aka company, then I have every right to say, no, you cannot say certain things. I'm sorry, you're in my house. Done. I'm just saying, if any of these companies can do, whether it's Facebook, Snapchat, it doesn't matter. They all have that. As Facebook has told us that everything we post is theirs.
Yeah, but once you open up your platform to be more of a public forum, you are tied into the First Amendment, because that means anyone who can use it right? Anyone who uses your site, or if it becomes more of a public forum, then anyone can say what is in essence their point of view, their opinion, right? And if it's not inciting violence, if it's not inciting people to go out and riot or people to go out and commit crimes, then it is covered by the First Amendment, and it should be covered by the First Amendment. There are things I wouldn't want the First Amendment to cover, but because the First Amendment covers those things, it means that the First Amendment covers things that I would want to say at the end of the day. So I think that the companies should find a way of curating things in a way that identifies these objectionable materials without actually censoring the people who have these viewpoints, but also making sure that, hey, I'm sorry, but if someone is saying something that I consider to be racist, I don't want it to basically just vanish. I want to know that someone is saying that. I want to know that this person is that kind of person who would say that. So to me, that's where I come from as well. So I think there has to be it's a very, very thin line. And I don't know where companies come in to curate it properly or whatnot, but there are a lot of ideas, kind of like what Reddit does, which is very imperfect, kind of like what Facebook does, which is also imperfect. But at the end of the day, Twitter needs to do something that is, they need to do something. They really do need to do something.
Any final thoughts, Ricky, before we move on? I know I've said that before.
I mean, yes, like Sam said, it's a very thin line. It's such thin ice, and it's a very touchy subject to try to control, or not control, but at least surveil what everyone's trying to say and make sure no one gets hurt, no one gets offended. It's really hard to do that on a 24-hour basis. So Twitter has a lot of work on its hands, and let's hope that keeps them afloat.
well said. All right, moving on to the other rumor. Netflix might be purchased by Disney. It's been floating around for a bit. Some of the in situations, some people are saying because Netflix and Disney have done some really good business in terms of the Disney deal, which is about $1 billion, I think, worth, where all Disney movies will be released on Netflix at some point. They're doing it in stages. And then also the fact that the shows, Luke Cage is the most watched Netflix show of 2016.
It's crazy, man. I have people who I don't even think would even read comics watching Luke Cage. Like, whoa. No, seriously, I have like 40-something-year-old like dudes who never heard of Luke Cage before at work coming up to me and be like, whoa, that Luke Cage show is so awesome. I want to go to Harlem this weekend and just like hang out. I'm like, dude, really? Okay, I'll come with you. I'll come with you.
Yeah, so those were some of the rumors where that stemmed from, but I don't want to get your thoughts on it. I do not want Disney to own Netflix, because then they really will control a chain all the way from production down to viewership. But I'll start off with you, Ricky. What do you think about Netflix being supposedly bought by Disney?
It's a giant company, and Disney is another gigantic company. I mean, if they were to join, it would be at the interest of, well, anything done anywhere is at the interest of making money. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like you said, yes, they would try to control more content. I'm at a loss of words here.
No, I think I get what you're saying.
I don't know where to go.
The amount of content that would be under Disney would be very much worrying. We've seen what Disney does when it comes to IP with stuff like Mickey Mouse, right? And we've seen exactly how that has affected the IP market, the intellectual property market, for years and years just because of that. Can we trust YouTube? I mean, can we trust Disney not to do the same thing with Netflix? So if Netflix comes out with or if someone comes out with an idea on Netflix, let's say they come out with like an anime a character that just ends up blowing up, can we say that Disney doesn't then claim some kind of ownership to it and then tries to patent it? The questions there that I'm not the questions there that we need to that needs to happen between when you are on the distributor end versus when you are on the creative side of things, right?
Yeah.
If Disney is doing things from distribution all the way to distribution, I mean from creation all the way to distribution, what to say that fictitious anime character I just mentioned doesn't get blocked from Netflix or doesn't get distributed from Netflix just because Disney think it's going to eat into our market.
Yeah,
that you run into problems on that. But I do like
how much would they limit competitors, from having stuff there? Right now, Netflix doesn't have a lot of movies anymore. I mean, their movie catalog is bare. It's more a lot of shows, but all these shows are still produced by other people. Warner Brothers has a lot of shows on Netflix. Warner Brothers is Disney's biggest competitor, and will they now have issues with that? Now, think about it this way: AT&T is looking to buy Warner Brothers, which is a competitor to which will now own TV stations similar to how Disney owns ABC. And then it's this whole cross, it becomes a really messy market where it's either Disney says, we bought Netflix, we're not doing anything, touching them. That's it, done. Yeah. They're just adding revenue to our bottom line.
Yep.
If they make that clear, then maybe. If not, then it becomes a dicey situation where, hey, we get more seasons of Marvel shows, but all the DC shows are like,
exactly.
Yeah, it might come next year. We're not exactly sure, that kind of stuff. And then you now start going, okay, this is a conflict where you have to break it up. So
plus, I think Netflix would not want to sell it also for that reason, where Netflix can be the place where everyone goes, to get content despite whoever, regardless of who's creating the content.
Yeah.
Right. So it could be creation or production company agnostic. Just give us your show, we'll put it on whatever. And Disney basically will benefit from an arrangement like that, because then Disney says, okay, we can release all our special edition or anniversary editions on DVDs and Blu-rays, but when we release something new that we're not really too sure about, we can actually kind of pilot the idea on
Netflix. Yeah, exactly.
So it could work for both companies if they don't, if one doesn't buy the other. But if Disney ends up buying Netflix, there's a whole lot of questions that they would answer. And I'm pretty sure the FTC would have a lot to say about it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, especially I think it all boils down to what happens with AT&T buying Warner Brothers. And I think if that goes through, Disney can somehow, complain and say, yeah, we can buy Netflix. You let AT&T buy this huge, our biggest competitor. So we definitely can do that. It would just be interesting to see how that pans out. Our last topic, discussion point is on the PlayStation Vue. I think Vue. It's now available on iOS devices. You can use it on your Apple TV. So it looks like Sony is expanding the reach of the PlayStation Vue. Any thoughts, Sam? I know you did that review that Fox decided to block with copyright.
Well, the thing with the Vue is that when they first launched, they had I think the offering, the channels they offered versus the price they were at wasn't competitive. And as they've gone along and opened themselves up to being part of other networks or part of other devices, now they're going to have Android and iOS device mobile apps. So it looks as though they've added enough to it to make it more palatable.
Yeah.
More palatable when it comes to a value conversation, right? But I'm not sure if the Vue is the right place to still go. I think their tiers, to me, seem still just slightly too pricey still.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. They seem Sony's making a huge push on this, so they might have an end game where they reduce the price or they just keep on adding more channels. But
if I was Sony though, they're still not leveraging what they do best with their content. The Vue is streaming station. Sony owns movies. They have a huge movie catalog. They also have a huge music catalog. That pricing structure is higher than the competition. And that pricing structure should include, if I were them, I would bundle, you can watch, a couple of movies a month or something like that, where you have access to, because when people start relying on free stuff, eventually you will pay for the extra to start watching more movies. Yeah. That's how human nature is, especially if it's streaming music. I mean, Sony doesn't have a streaming music service, and they own. I mean, the music catalog is literally almost half of the world's music catalog.
Yep,
literally. So the fact that they don't have a cohesive streaming service is mind-boggling. You know, the fact that, you know, everyone is using Apple Music, Google, you know, Google Music or Spotify. And granted, you know, they've kind of lost that battle, but I will still add that to the view to some level and say, hey, look, you know what? You have access, you know, like how Google does it with YouTube Red. You know, the reason why I think Warren was telling me Warren signed up for YouTube Red is because you sign up for YouTube Red, you get Google Music. It's like, I really don't care about YouTube Red, but
no, I mean, you sign up for Google Music, you get your YouTube Red.
YouTube Red, sorry, yeah, exactly.
So, it's awesome. It's freaking amazing.
So yeah, so that's, you know, that's what you need to do. You need to package things that, yeah, one might not be something that a lot of people will use, but because it's packaged with something else, it's like Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah,
you know, Amazon Prime has so many things packaged with it. The price keeps going up, and you're like, yeah, whatever, I'll still pay because, like, just the shipping alone.
No, I think I was telling you recently that I don't like using Amazon Music. The app, I never liked the app. I never really used it until the day I figured out that all the vinyls I got from Amazon were ripped and put into Amazon Music, so I could actually listen to them on the go. And I'm like, whoa, that is awesome. Yeah. I think I'll do that. You know, I can not only buy the hard music,
hard copy, yeah,
the LP. I can actually go out and walk around and listen to the music I still like. So that to me is added value, and I think this is going to be added value for people with the PlayStation Vue. If they see that, okay, they no longer have to be tied to their Sony device, they can actually pick up the Android phone, the iOS device, and just go out there and use it. It adds value. It is a value proposition. I don't know if it's enough of a value proposition to justify the price you pay monthly.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's how they term it and put it, but Sony's not the best in marketing stuff, as we know with the Sony phones, which are non-existent in any form or fashion. But yeah, so anyway, that is that. I think that's all we have for news. Is there anything you guys want to talk about before we round up?
No, I mean, so back to the Vue.
I thought you were going to go back to Twitter.
Oh no, I was not going back to Twitter.
We're staying away from that discussion for the rest of the day.
No, I'm looking at their pricing packages, and this is like a little bit more expensive than cable.
The value proposition is just not there, I don't think.
I love it. Rick is like,
it's a little more expensive than what I paid for cable.
I was like, he's like, it's like Comcast don't look so bad right now.
No, actually, if this was priced like for cable, it actually is not that bad. Like $45 for certain channels, but it depends on like what choice of cable you have where you are. If you don't like those options, at least you have a third or fourth or whatever, or a single option for some people that don't have access to this. But then again, if you don't have cable, you probably don't have internet. So, I mean, I'm just going in circles in my head right now.
He's like, it makes no sense. Why are they offering this at this price? Well, really, but it makes no sense. But why are they offering this? It's more expensive than cable. No, this makes no sense. He just keeps on going in circles.
It doesn't.
Oh yeah, this is one I wanted to talk about quickly before we round up. So I'm just going to read. I'll actually, let me share the link here for you, and I'll put it into the description, guys. So Microsoft says it will tie executive bonuses to diversity hiring goals. What do you think about that? It's basically saying that as an exec of whatever division I am in Microsoft, the more diverse I make my group, the more money I make. I mean, this is something where you could start hiring just useless people.
Well.
I mean, you
the
could.
thing is, if you hire useless people, at the end of the day, your division will take.
The hit. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's an interesting way to increase the number of minorities, women, and transgender people in the tech space, which I think there is a marked lack of minorities, women, and transgender people in technology. However, monetary incentive that lends itself to abuse. I always find when you put a monetary incentive in front of stuff, it lends itself to abuse. So it's kind of 50-50 for me. It's a good thing, but it's also a little bit of a tricky situation there.
Here's how I can see it though. I can see it working positively in this way. Well, actually, tie executive bonuses to diversity hiring goals. They're setting goals for themselves and they're putting bonuses on them. Like, yeah, that can be abused, but this could also be positive on the positive side, because they could go and actively recruit these people, these talented people that can do these jobs for them. That would be, giving back, that would be a social responsibility of this company. But if they're tying a bonus to it, it kind of defeats the purpose of doing that in the first place.
Yeah.
Have announced that without, they could have done that.
See, I would have liked to see it more as like instead of a executive bonus, more as a division incentives. When you tie certain, I mean, even if you're making it, I mean, I don't want to make it like a workplace fight, but certain divisions will get certain perks, certain like whether it's like out of work perks, like you win all these bundle prizes. I mean, I don't know, but like taking away from the executive and making it more about the division itself, so that you don't have that singular person who is now foreseeing, certain things down the line. Because, the other argument could come, what if you have a candidate who is white, who is very good and fits into the company well, but because of some of this, he doesn't get a job. He's being discriminated. That's the other side. That's the other side that this will affect, because especially when you put the monetary value in, because now you're going to be actively looking because there's a bonus side to it. It's like a sales job. You're like, yeah, I gotta clean up by the end of the month.
I would be a lot more comfortable with stuff like this if it wasn't a monetary bonus.
It's just perks.
Yeah, not even just perks. If it wasn't a monetary bonus to the division, but if it was more like an apprenticeship kind of idea, where you go to a high school, or a inner city, God, I hate using that term, inner city high school that has mostly minorities, and if you can recruit from there
for internships,
for internships, for college track programs, so things that monitor these kids or help these kids. Like, this money should go to the kids to help them get into college, to help them get into technology-focused programs, careers that would end up, that might actually put them in Microsoft.
That's very true, because Google was doing one, something like that, when my cousin, when she was in high school, this is about 2 years ago, there's a program where it was coding for girls, and her team won in her school. Her team won in Massachusetts, and she got to the U.S. finals she went to Silicon Valley, and I think they came 4th or 5th. But, because even though she's not coding, she's in school for pharmacy, she still loves to code. I mean, like, it's now ingrained in her. Like, it's one of those things where you can do that in that way, where you have different programs that goes and basically educates kids and say, hey, look, you're spending time in Microsoft. This is the world you can come into. There's an internship program. And because you're part of this internship program, when you get to college, if you want to apply to an internship, we have you listed down here already. So there's an opportunity for you to come back. I definitely like that idea. I think that would be a much better way to reach out to, because starting the next generation of your employer, I mean, it's the same way like Apple was always introducing MacBooks into schools, even though that was a much smaller program in the sense is that once somebody gets hooked on something, then they will always use it. So it's the same way as if you introduce kids of all races, genders, affiliations into Microsoft, they would say, wow, you know what? That's a company I would like to work with, because they are the ones, they looked out for me. They supplied scholarships. They provided opportunities.
Maybe I fit in with these guys because I've known them for so long. So that's a company that's at the top of my list when it comes to working at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You build a familiarity with people. Because right now, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of kids out there who just don't even look at, the company they're going to work for in the future. Rather, do they have a degree or not, or would they have a job or not? It's a totally different mindset to say that I've worked with Microsoft through high school. I've interned for them in high school. I've interned for them in college. I've interned in a tech company. So maybe this is a company I want to work with because I see myself fitting into that environment. Yeah. So that's a big thing. It's a very big thing, and if they can pull something like that off, it would be great. But hey, you have to start somewhere, and this is a good start. As flawed as it might be, it is a good start.
Yeah. It also says there that they dropped from 26.8% females to 25.8. So they lost 1% of the female workforce when they basically wrote off Nokia acquisition.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Nokia hired most of the females in Microsoft. I'm just joking, though, just 1%. but Microsoft workforce. So basically, Microsoft is a 75% male company. They're trying to change that as much as possible, and we saw that with their press conference. The amount of women they brought on stage.
Oh yeah,
it was very evident. It was woman, black guy, woman, black guy.
Like Microsoft is showcasing that it can, be very inclusive, which is always good for companies. Which is always good. The more inclusive they are, because if you look at design and technology out there right now, things are beginning to look a little homogeneous. And we get a little bit of excitement when we have these Asian companies come in and do something different, design something different, right? Put the fingerprint scanner at the back of the device rather than in the front of the device. Oh my God, that is so freaking awesome, right? But stuff like that is why diversity is good in technology, because it not only changes the way we tend to view technology, it changes the way we use it as well. It opens it up to how other people in the world use it, and that might affect how we use it as well. That might affect how we design things because we've seen someone else do it better. So I think being more inclusive is always a positive. It's always a big positive. I hope Microsoft can figure out a good way to do it.
Yeah. All right, cool. And now we are over.
Now we're done.
So I know you don't know this, Ricky, but this is the part of the show where we usually tell our subscribers what we have on on our channels right now, what they can watch, and what can we expect next week. So, I will start off with you. What can people go out and check out on GSM Arena, and what can they expect next week?
Well, on GSM Arena, we just put up our video review of the Mate 9 on our YouTube channel. So if you go to our website, you can check out our Mate 9 review. It's up on our website, the text review, and then video reviews embedded in there. And into next week, we have the Fab 2 Pro in-house. So I will be working on the Fab 2 Pro review. And where did it go? This thing is this is an S7 Edge. This thing is so big. I'm gonna have fun carrying this into the city. So, but yeah. So the Fab 2 Pro, I'm gonna have a quick first look video coming out soon, and just stay tuned for that at GSM Arena's YouTube channel.
All right, cool.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Ricky Fox Tech, RICKY FOXTEK.
Okay, you will have to repeat that again when I give closing remarks. So don't worry.
All right.
And on our end, we're trying to do an email server, and my internet connection, my setup is there's a way around it, but it was long. I sat down with Synology and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to skip.
Yeah, we can have another different look at that. It's more complex. Like email server is a little bit more complex.
No, it's not that. No, it's not that. It's my setup, because I am not using my Verizon router, and that is giving me issues on sending out emails. Really? I can receive emails off the server, but because Verizon will not let me use my own modem or router, I have to basically use their router and modem as a bridge over to mine, even so I can get faster speeds. But when I'm sending email, the server is having this issue because it's looking at 2 IP addresses and it's not sending it to the right one, even though I port forwarded everything. So Synology sent me a setup to go through, and I looked at it. It was really long, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm tired."
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That is kind of it could be difficult. Sorry to hear.
Yeah, so it was that. But for us on the channel, we have our review of the LG E6 OLED from LG. You can check that out. Our Gear Icon X, Samsung's fitness in-ear buds. Daniel dropped his Roam Ropes Bluetooth earphones. We also have our full review of the PS4 Pro, and you can hear our thoughts on that. We have HyperX's new gaming mechanical keyboard, and I'll just tell you, it's on point. HyperX has been doing a lot of good things in the last 2 years, so I was quite impressed to see that they added a keyboard and it did pretty well. And then the big thing this week is we have our PS4 Pro mega giveaway pack. We're giving away 4 PS4 Pros.
Damn.
They will be skinned by D-Brand, and also giving away 4 SteelSeries Actis 3 gaming headsets from SteelSeries. So.
Create alternate non-board at work account. Sorry. I said that out loud, didn't I?
Yes. I don't think you're allowed to enter, Sam. I mean, I have to change your name.
No, I'm not entering. My friend Ishmael is entering.
Ishmael,
instead.
okay.
Yes.
So yeah, you can go ahead and enter into that giveaway. I'll add the link for the giveaway in the description for you guys to check out and enter. It's running for 2 weeks, and you can win a PS4 Pro and a gaming headset, and also it's skinned with a skin of your choice. All right, so that is it, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. We run a little bit over as usual, but I want to thank Ricky for joining. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Ricky, you can find his articles on GSM Arena. And what is your Twitter handle again?
It's Ricky, Ricky, Fox Tech, TEK.
All right. So you can follow him on Twitter with that handle. And yeah, check him out on GSM Arena. And of course, Sam, aka Black Iron _man.
Well, I wish I had my lower third. I wish I had the ability to have my lower third on, but apparently Google does not allow me to do that.
Yes, that is the running theme. But yeah, and also you can see his videos on Board at Work and also on the website boardatwork.com. And of course, myself here, it's Thunder E. Follow us. It's Board at Work on YouTube and Twitter. And I say thank you very much, and always enjoy your entertainment.
Man.